Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of Grande Prairie. This is the Public and Protective Services Committee committee for the day. I am your newly minted chair, if you can't tell, Chris Thiessen. I'm joined today on committee by Councillor Gladys Blackmore, Grant Berg, and Mayor Clayton is online. So we'll call this meeting to order, and we will start with our land acknowledgement. The city respectfully acknowledges the Beaver, Cree, Dene, and Métis people as the original caretakers of this land and surrounding areas. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island, and acknowledge these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. Thank you, everybody, for that. Now we will move into an adoption of the agenda, and I'll turn to Councillor Berg.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I'd like to move committee receive this report for information. Oh, sorry, wrong one. I'm already ahead. Committee adopt the agenda as presented.
All right. Well, it looks like the vote is up, so please vote. And
Mayor Clayton in favor.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. And that passes unanimously. Moving right along, we have no delegations, and we'll move right into reports. And to that, I will turn it to our Deputy Chief, Ms. Catherine Ridgway.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. For enforcement services, 3 enforcement officers are currently enrolled in the Peace Officer Induction Program. Graduating from the program allows officers to take on additional roles and responsibilities under the Peace Officer Act, increasing their ability to address diverse community needs. The program emphasizes skills like de-escalation techniques, legal compliance, and public safety protocols. This ensures officers can handle a wider range of situations effectively, contributing to safer neighborhoods. In new recruits, a new recruit hire has started in GPPS the week of March 8th. This officer is currently in training as enforcement works towards a full complement of officers within the department. For mobile outreach, we have some casework statistics. For January 2025, they've dispatched 1,246 calls. Unique individual support by outreach was 299. Individuals relocated to home communities natural supports 6. Casework activity clients is at 17, and individuals referred to housing supports was 17. For February 2025, they've dispatched 994 calls, a reduction in 252. Unique individual supports by outreach, 267. Needles collected, 719. Individuals relocated to home communities natural supports was 3. Casework activity for clients was 23. Individuals referred to housing supports, 18. For the RCMP, on Thursday, February 27th, at approximately 12:10 p.m., Grande Prairie RCMP received a complaint of a male with a handgun at the Composite High School. The Grande Prairie RCMP, with assistance from the Grande Prairie RCMP Police Dog Services, responded promptly and were able to locate the male individual. Police were also able to determine that the handgun was actually an imitation firearm, or BB gun. As a result of this event, a resident of Grande Prairie has been charged with assault with a weapon, uttering threats, possession of a weapon dangerous to public purpose. Following a release hearing, the individual was released from custody to later appear at the Alberta Court of Justice in Grande Prairie on March 19th, 2025. On Wednesday, September 25th, 2024, RCMP received a report of a large sum of cash that had been located in a clothing donation at Value Village in Grande Prairie. The sum of cash was turned over to the RCMP. The cash was found in an envelope located inside the donation of an article of clothing. The Grande Prairie RCMP are seeking the public's assistance to reunite the cash with the rightful owner. If you or someone you know has misplaced a sizable amount of cash around September 25th, 2025 at the Value Village, please contact the Grande Prairie RCMP. For recreation, Aquatics has successfully wrapped up our winter swim lessons. Aquatic instructors delivered swimming education to over 1,100 participants. The winter session also marked the launch of a new Learn to Try Swim program aimed to enhance stroke refinement and technique in preparation for this summer's triathlon. The spring aquatic schedule has been released, featuring expanded toddler time on Fridays, as part of the regular schedule. Additionally, the spring break schedule includes a specialized Schools Out public swim schedule, allowing public swimming to begin as early as 1 p.m. each day, along with new and exciting aquafit classes to help participants stay active and make the most of their spring break. We have a membership incentive, a membership experience campaign running March 17th to 22nd, where members are invited to bring a friend for free to select fitness classes, 2 classes offered per day. For events and programming, spring break camps are officially sold out and a waitlist has begun. Our summer camp registration is now open and we are over 45% subscribed. Storm playoffs begin this weekend. Round 1 will be in Grande Prairie against the Lloydminster Bobcats. First game is Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 6 p.m. We encourage you fans to secure tickets in advance to skip the lines. State of the City is happening, a grander conversation featuring a panel discussion with community leaders. It will take place Tuesday, March 25th at Montrose Cultural Centre. Tickets are on sale for the Storm playoff games and the State of the City at the Bonnets Energy Centre box office or online. Housing and Community Development. Helping Hands is now an official member of the Food Banks Alberta and has been designated as the regional hub for monthly food shipments. This partnership comes at no cost to Helping Hands and lowers administrative costs for regional members. And with that, I'd be glad to take questions. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Joy. I'll turn to committee to see if there's any. Got nothing from Councillor Blackmore, nothing from Councillor Berg, and I don't see an emoji hand going up online for Mayor Clayton, so it looks like you're off the hook. Thank you so much for that very thorough report on the service area. All right, moving right along. We got our reports. Item 5.2, the Grande Prairie Police Commission and Grande Prairie Police Service update. And I'll turn to our CAO, Mr. Burke. Could turn it to the chair of the Police Commission, but I'll turn to CAO Burke to introduce this.
No, this is just an opportunity for the commission and then the committee to update council and the community on the activity that they've had over the last year, and happy to have Chair Wong come up and present.
All right, you're more than welcome to come on up, Mr. Wong. Bring in a friend. Oh, looks like the chief is coming up too, Chief Lagusta. Welcome, gentlemen. You didn't happen to drop off articles of used clothing at Valley Village, did you, Chief Lacusta?
Unless it was a size 42, no.
All right. Oh, welcome, Chair Wong.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen, councillors, Mayor Clayton. My name's Dan Wong. I'm the chair of the Grande Prairie Police Commission. I'm also going to be presenting on the policing committee as well with the new officer in charge, and I'll do that report after I do this one. I'm joined today by Grande Prairie Police Service Police Chief Dwayne Lacusta. Also in the gallery is our Executive Director, Lori Sittler. So I'll present the update for the Commission and the service. Most of the report will center around the period between October and December of 2024. And afterwards, we'll be pleased to answer any questions that you may have. Highlights for that period, and the reports are in your package, so I'm just going to go over them fairly quickly. Highlights include the commencement of Sergeant Fraser from GPPS to the RCMP's Forensic Identification Unit. Sergeant Fraser will also be developing the Forensic Ident for GPPS. 3 experienced officers completed the Experienced Officer Program, with 2 constables deployed to RCMP and 1 detective assigned to the Caribou Child and Youth Center. GPPS Executive hosted a meeting with the Assistant Deputy Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Services and the Executive Director of Law Enforcement to update them on the transition. The provincial officials expressed satisfaction with the progress to date. Work has begun on the development of an integrated emergency communication center after approval by City Council in that past quarter. Also in the quarter, the Commission approved the development of a Police Transition Management Committee to monitor and support the transition. This committee is made up of members of the Policing Committee, Police Commission, GPPS Police Chief, the RCMP Officer in Charge, and the City of Grande Prairie's Chief of Public and Protective Services. Members of GPPS attended the Indigenous Veteran Days Veterans Day or Memorial Day celebration, Remembrance Day ceremonies, and Christmas functions at several schools. Chief Lacusta and 2 members of his executive participated in a panel at the Canadian Institute of Law of Policing conference. They also took the opportunity to visit the Surrey Police Service to see their facilities and to discuss the transition. On recruitment, applications for the second recruit class closed with 288 applicants. Enforcement Services welcomed 4 new peace officers, bringing their complement to 24 peace officers, 1 bylaw officer, and 3 supervisors. The second Experienced Officer program commenced with 3 completing the program at the beginning of 2025. The recruit training class also graduated in Q1 of 2025. It was a momentous day, and many councillors were in attendance. The third Experienced Officer program has commenced, and an inspector with over 26 years of experience will be joining GPPS. So finally, I just want to highlight that in your packages, there is the 2024 Commission Annual Report. The report summarizes the activities for the police service as well as the Commission for 2024, and it shows all the work that we've completed to date, all the work that will need to be completed, and all the stakeholder engagements throughout the year. So at this point, that's the end of my report. Chief Lacusta and I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Chair Wong. Appreciate the updates and the information come forward. Looks like we got a couple questions coming in. I got Councillor Blackmore and then Councillor Burke.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. I have 2 questions. One is, when you were visiting Surrey, Chief Lacusta, what were your big takeaways from that?
Great question. Thank you for that. Fortunate with the relationship that we have with Surrey. Chief Norm Lipinski is a previous colleague of mine from the Edmonton Police Service, so well-founded relationship there. So takeaways were a lot of similar challenges that we faced here in regards to the transition that with direction coming from national headquarters. We're overcoming those. One of the takeaways I have is I think we have a much better relationship here in the division. And I think we're achieving greater successes in shorter order. Other takeaways, a lot of similarities when it came to, we talked about recruitment efforts, we talked about training. Again, another takeaway that I have is we're very well placed with the level of training that we're providing. We're fortunate, I've talked about it before, in partnership with the other 7 municipal agencies in Alberta, the AACP. We have a lot of support to provide some advanced training. So very, very happy with the direction we're going. Sort of a long-winded response there, Councillor. I hope that answered your question, but I left there knowing that we're doing things right.
That's good. That's a good answer. I'm also curious. I know that we've had 1 class of new recruits graduate and another class that are busy doing their class stuff. I'm just curious if the training program that we set up with Lethbridge College is working as you expect it, or if you see any holes in that you'd like to shore up going forward.
Very, very happy with the results from recruit class training number 1. We have this program has been tried and tested through other municipal agencies, Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and some of the First Nations, self-administered First Nations. I'm very pleased with the relationship we have with the dean, with the Polytech and Lethbridge, with the faculty level of expertise that they provide. That's on the academic side, but we've also, we have ownership of the officer safety. We have ownership of the control tactics, with the use of a number of our weapon systems. So, remind you that we had traveled down to the Gracie School of Jiu-Jitsu in Kentucky, where we received some very high-level training, sought-after training by other American and Canadian organizations. I'm very confident with the level of training that we have here. I'm also pleased with the fact that we have academia that are leading our foundational training when it comes to the academic side there. So it's accepted more broadly by society right now as far as that level of training. not just being police-led.
That's good to know because, as you know, that's one of the concerns in the community is that the Grande Prairie Police Service would not be as trained as we might expect them to be. So it's good to hear that that, in fact, is not true.
And if I could just add on to that, there's provincial standards that are monitored, overseen, by the Public Safety Emergency Services Ministry. So we have to hit certain standards. So if there's any thought that our training does not rise to a level that people expect, quite frankly, they're wrong. It rises to a level that is expected by the Minister of Public Safety. And in many realms, we're actually exceeding it with the level of training that we're providing there. So.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chief Lacusta. Thanks, Councillor Blackmore. I'll turn it over to Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Chair Thiessen. Excellent report around 2024. I really appreciate it. Not a lot of surprises actually no surprises in there. It's all familiar to us. My question actually is around current day. So Chief Lacusta, if you wouldn't mind just kind of informing us and the public around the city on 99th. I've seen 3 Grande Prairie police cruisers parked there, and I've seen some leaving. So I know that there's been a slight shift towards city on 99th. If you just want to update people around that.
Yes, great observation there. So as of yesterday, we did launch what we called our Community Standards Unit. So we have 6 officers, newly graduated officers that are part of this, Community Standards officers, reporting up to a very experienced GPPS sergeant. Their main focus is going to be addressing civil and social disorder, primarily in the downtown core. We received a lot of feedback from the Downtown Business Association with problems that were associated to homelessness, encampments, and just general social disorder when it came to activities from antisocial activities that were impacting residents and businesses, but also having an impact on the number of people that would actually come down to the downtown core. So this is designed to address a lot of those, I'll call them low-level crimes and disorder that's causing that disruption. We're going to be working hand in hand with the RCMP. The RCMP have agreed to, with their community engagement team and diversity team, is to have a member that works not necessarily alongside every day, but we'll say it as best as hand in hand, just so we're sharing that information, sharing that intelligence. And really, it's a force multiplier when we're able to address that collectively as a team to deal with the disorder that's impacting our downtown core. And I want to stress that it's not just necessarily downtown core. That's where we're seeing a high concentration of these type of activities. So if the problems do take us into the park system, Muskogee Park, any area of the city, we're just going to follow that trail of breadcrumbs there to deal with those matters at hand. Yeah. So you will see, so we have 4 black and white vehicles that are fully equipped now that will be on the streets patrolling. Our officers will be walking the beat once they settle into their new positions. This is only day number 2. And on top of that, we'll also have an additional number of black and white vehicles that will be deployed to the RCMP, to our 6 officers that are now engaging in their Block 2 training with the RCMP.
Great. Thank you very much, and we all appreciate that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Chief Lacusta. Thanks for the question, Councillor Berg. I have a couple questions. Bike cops. Do we plan to put any cops on bikes out on the streets in the spring and summertime?
Yes. So we have last year, as everyone recalls, we did take ownership of the Peace Officer program. So it was early fall last year that we actually trained a number of officers. So and we did pick up some more bikes for patrol opportunities. Again, through the Muskogee Park system, beautiful park system, where we're able to deal with and identify areas of concern. Our end model will include a community engagement team. It will include a beat team. So we will eventually, in 2026, have those officers deployed. But we also have to remember that until such time, that direction of deployment is coming from, respectively, from the RCMP. And right now, the focus will be on frontline operations. But it is something that we're addressing through our Peace Officer program, but it is something that will be part of our regular deployment with high visibility with our police officers.
Oh, good to know. Thanks for that, Chief Lacusta. I'm looking to see if the mayor has a question. I don't see any other questions, so I'm just going to throw myself in the queue again. You did mention the meeting in Surrey. I had the opportunity to speak with the mayor of Surrey, Brenda Locke, at FCM this last June. And when she said that the relationships there, the transition, it was kind of strained. So I guess you went and visited Surrey after that. So how was the relationship there with their transition teams? Did it seem like there was some healing happening there, that they were finding a good path for everybody? Is something, and the reason I ask, I guess, is I just want to pat ourselves on the back for doing such a great job with our own transition.
I won't speak on Chief Lipinski's behalf. Any transition, you're going to see some hurdles there. I mean, we are talking Surrey, the biggest RCMP detachment in the country. So on a scalability, we're much smaller. But I can comment on just my 30 years here in the province and working closely with the RCMP in K Division, and we have a long-standing positive relationship, and we're working with that. So there's no reason why there should be some of the challenges that may have been exposed within Surrey. We're all police officers. We're all in this together, and public safety is non-negotiable. I'll say that all the time. So we're working well here with our partners.
Awesome. Beautiful. Great to hear. Thank you so much, Chief Lacusta. I have one more question, but it's not for you, Chief. It's for the chair. Mr. Wong, I know you thought you were going to get off easy just presenting here today. But I had a couple questions in regard to the commission highlights and your strategic plans and priorities. In regards to community engagement, I noticed that we still have a little bit of work to do around the communications plan and stakeholder engagement plan. Where's the commission with it? As far as engaging with the community? Is it just a constant ongoing thing? It says here that the work hasn't started yet. That's why I ask.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good question. Our communications and stakeholder engagement is an ongoing thing, but we're also doing some very targeted engagement as well. This fall, we'll be looking at doing those stakeholder engagement sessions, similar to the ones that we did about a year and a half ago. The timing of those was always going to be every couple of years, because we didn't want to we didn't want to create any kind of fatigue throughout the community for those community agencies. We also discussed the fact that our strategic plan needs to be modified this year because our transition time period has now changed due to some more knowns and unknowns that have happened between GPPS and the RCMP. But it's all positive stuff. We constantly get at our meetings a community organization or an agency coming and doing presentations to us, and we've come up with a plan now to go out to different events throughout the community, spreading our commission members out to visit different organizations when they're holding their events, and having conversations with them to make sure that they know that we're a two-way door in terms of communication. We want to know how we can help them and how they can work with the new police service when it comes into police jurisdiction.
Okay, no, that's awesome. And joining the chamber too probably helps a lot with that, as far as communicating what the commission and the Grande Prairie Police Service is all about here in the community, and rest assured, putting people's mind at ease. I don't see any other questions coming up. Oh, wait, no, just joking. The mayor just jumped up with her hand. I'll turn it over to Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Sorry, I'm having some issues with internet, so I'm not turning on my camera yet. But question in regards to transportation policing. And so, as we all recall, there was a change of the provincial government in automated traffic enforcement. However, that doesn't mean this, contrary to some people's belief, there is still automated traffic enforcement within certain areas. And so I'm wondering, just for the public's information, if you can explain some initiatives that may be starting to take place in our community in regards to school zones, construction zones, as we start to get ready for construction season and playgrounds. And so any information that you have that you could share with the public right now would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Great question. I mean, we're watching the decision on the AT, Automatic Traffic Enforcement Program, very closely. You know what? I don't support the direction that was taken. I think It has an impact when it comes to public safety, road safety in any municipality across the province. But the decision was made by the ministry. As a AACP executive, we took a opposing position to that. But now we have the new rules of engagement as of April 1st. So it still does permit us to utilize automatic traffic enforcement in school zones, in construction zones. So we're just assessing right now how that's going to look with our current provider, if it is cost effective. But we have a dedicated team within our enforcement services, a dedicated traffic team, and traffic enforcement is going to be part of our mandate moving forward as our police officers are deployed as well. It's everyone's responsibility. So working within the new rules of engagement, we're still filtering through when and where. There's still an opportunity for us to utilize intersection safety devices, with certain criteria that must be met to the approval of the ministry. So we're trying to identify problem locations within the city, because there are a number of locations in the city that I personally have experienced, but also feedback we're getting from the citizens there. So it's important for us to continue to get that feedback from the citizens that see this. We're also taking a bigger approach towards commercial vehicle enforcement. So we've just signed an agreement with the Alberta Sheriffs, where they'll be training 2 of our members here in the coming months here for commercial vehicle inspections, which is a big part of the road safety here within Grande Prairie. We do have a number of large trucks that travel through on a continual basis. So we're looking at different ways that we can strategize, Your Worship, just to make sure that we aren't leaving any gaps as a result of the decision from the Transportation Ministry.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for your question, Mayor Clayton. Thanks for the response, Chief Lacusta. I don't see any other questions, so I just want to put a bug in your ear. I know you guys know you got 2 councillors that sit around the commission. Last week, and quite frequently, actually, council is always updating our advocacy priorities, and we, as one of the biggest things that I think this council has done, maybe a lot of councils have done over time, is to do this big police transition. So if you see any areas that maybe need a little bit of advocacy, I'd say bring it to Councillor Bressy, Councillor O'Toole, or directly to us, and we can help work our political magic and maybe do that political advocacy plan with you guys on your strategic priorities. So thanks for coming in today and for updating committee and council, and I'm sure we'll see you guys again real soon.
I still have one report.
Oh, yes, you bet. Yeah, that's why I said we'll see you real soon. All right, Councillor Blackmore.
I'd move that committee receive the report for information.
All right, that motion is in order. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Mayor Clayton in favor.
And that motion carries. All right, moving right along, we now have an update on the Grande Prairie Policing Committee and Grande Prairie RCMP update. And I'll turn it back over to Chair Wong from the Police Commission.
Yes, thank you, Chair Thiessen. As you've already stated, I'm Chair of the Policing Commission. I'm joined today and pleased to introduce Superintendent Steve McLeod, who is new to Grande Prairie. And also in the gallery today is Inspector Mark McDougall from the RCMP. Since Superintendent McLeod is brand new, I want to just take this opportunity to allow him to introduce himself and provide you with a little bit of his background.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Grande Prairie, Superintendent McLeod.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Worship. Good morning, Chair Thiessen and Council and staff. Thanks for the opportunity to introduce myself. I've just landed in Grande Prairie. This is my 4th week in the role of the OIC here at the detachment. I bring 25 years of policing experience from what we call E Division, British Columbia. I've worked in detachments as far north as Fort Nelson. I've spent a lot of time in Surrey, the Lower Mainland, and many stops along the way in various size detachments. I've held roles in administration, but primarily my roles have been in frontline policing. Over half my year was in plainclothes policing, drug sections and major crime units. And from there, I've managed several units, oversaw operations, of large detachments. And my most recent role was in charge of operations for the entire North District of E Division.
Awesome. Well, sounds like a great resume. I'm glad to have you here. Are you on a 2-year plan, or because that means you're going to be here forever if you already made it 2?
I'm on as long as they need me plan.
All right, there you go. Thank you very much, Superintendent McLeod. I'll turn it back over to Chair Wong here.
Yes, thank you. So I'll be presenting the RCMP quarterly report for the period of July and to September of 2024. Then Superintendent McLeod and I will be open to any questions that you may have. The report for that period was prepared by Superintendent King, who was the officer in charge at that time. Superintendent King had a long history in Grande Prairie, but he's been recalled to Western Alberta District Office. We want to just take this opportunity to thank him for his service here. He did an excellent job while he was in Grande Prairie. But we are fortunate to have Superintendent McLeod, who is taking command and control of the Grande Prairie detachment. We look forward to working with him in the future. The report in your package describes 3 community priority areas: transition to a municipal police service, community engagement and diversity, and community safety through intelligence-led policing. Highlights of these priorities include the RCMP collaborating with GPPS to integrate members into its operations to strengthen community engagement and public safety. RCMP are also advancing efforts to establish their own standalone rural detachment building to be ready post-transition. The Community Engagement and Diversity Unit continues to attend community events, schools, support groups, and community organizations. There's a goal for the newly formed Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Advisory Committee to meet 4 times a year. One of their first goals is to establish priorities with measurable targets. The crime analyst member continued research throughout this period to provide proactive enforcement and to prepare reports on prolific offenders and areas of the city to focus their patrols on. In your package also, it shows the number of executed warrants, which exceeded targets for the reporting period, as well as the number of condition checks and proactive visibility patrols. There's also a human resources overview for the quarter that shows that out of 110 established positions, there are approximately 88 working positions. The remaining were on special leave or hard vacancies. The quarterly report also includes the crime stats for the comparable quarter, as well as the year-over-year comparison. So in general, crime was down for the period between July and September of 2024, although the 2024 year-to-date does show that the numbers are pretty much on par with 2022 and 2023. At this time, we'll pause for some questions.
All right, I know I have at least one question in the queue, and I'll turn to my left at Councillor Berg.
Yeah, I suspect that this is a typo, but on page 4 of your report of the crime stats, it says there's a 645% increase in federal crime, although I know that's an error because it went from 372 to 313. So my math says it actually dropped 26%. So am I missing something?
No, Councillor, I noticed that error last night, so that's all I can account for.
Okay, so
I'm not very good at math, but I know that doesn't make any sense.
yeah, so publicly this document will be revised to reflect accurate numbers?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good catch, Councillor Berg. Look around. I see Kevin O'Toole online. He's not on this committee. His hand's not up either. Mayor Clayton doesn't have her hand up, but Councillor Blackmore does. She's in the room. Councillor Blackmore.
Thank you, Councillor Thiessen. I'm not sure you can answer this question, but do you have any timeline for the rural detachment building opening?
I can't. That's an ongoing diary date within our organization, but I suspect a number of years. What I can tell you is that the majority of the rural or provincial members have physically moved over to the Western Alberta District Office as of February 25th and essentially are at about a standalone capacity there where they can receive calls, take front counter calls, and access the public from that building until there is a alternative developed. But within the RCMP world, the planning and development of a building is likely a few years away.
I remember well doing that with the building you're in currently. Thank you.
I actually had a question in regards to the building as well. How many officers do you plan to staff that building with when it's all built out, whenever it's built out?
I'll have to come back to you next time with those numbers. Again, week 4, and I'm not sure what, we'll have to assess what the need is now that there's a clear separation between the municipal detachment, municipal police force, and what the needs of the rural community will be, and assess if we have enough positions to provide an appropriate service to that community.
Okay, yeah, and
Those communities.
yeah, thanks for that response. I get it. These things do take time and a bit of evaluation. Just being a counselor that talked with a lot of RCMP officers that were a bit broke up about the transition a few years back. The way I'm hopeful of it is maybe we can retain some of those within the region. So that's why I asked how many officers you might be staffing. So, but I'll leave that business up to the RCMP. Thank you, Councillor Burke.
Yeah, thanks. That actually sparked another question, again, similar to the one that I asked the Grande Prairie Police Service about a separate location. Is there something that you guys are working on in the west side area, or moved some of your officers there, or some administration? I'm not sure.
In the west, not that I can think of. I'll ask my colleague because it is week 4.
Sorry. The West District office is located in that business park behind the Dole and the Holiday Inn Bank. The district office in there that houses on the first floor of that building. 90% of our rural positions. That's the Holiday Inn counter there.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks for the question, Councillor Berg. Looking online, I'm fresh out of questions too, so I guess I'm just going to say welcome to Grande Prairie. I know it's never easy being the new guy, but a month in, one full moon cycle. How do you like it so far?
Absolutely enjoying it, yep.
Awesome. Yeah, it's the greatest place to be in the entire world. You'll learn that real soon. I see no more questions, so I'll turn it to Grant Berg for a motion.
Yeah, thanks. Before that, I'll just ask City Clerk, with that mathematical thing, do I approve this as amended or just pass the report with the assumption it'll be changed? Okay. I would recommend that the committee receive this report for information.
That motion is in order. I'll call the question. And that motion carries. Thank you very much for your time today, gentlemen, and for your reports.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you again soon. Not as soon as last time, Chair Wong. Well, I'll turn it over to committee. So there's just a question for those watching online. If committee had any questions they might want to ask in camera with the GPPS or the RCMP. I don't see anyone online. I now see Councillor O'Connor online. He's as handsome as ever, but he doesn't have a question either. So thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate your time today. Well, with that being said, we have no correspondence, no other business, and no bylaw or policy to review. So I'll just turn it over to Deputy Chief Ridgway for the outstanding items list.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. The Public and Protective Services does have a few changes requested for the outstanding items list. The Recreation Access and Transit Programs for Seniors will be assigned to Director of Community Social Development Tammy Wenzel with a report date of Q2 2025. The City Events Report requires an update to reporting to Q2 for some final stakeholder engagement. The Bose Pilot Project is on track for Q2. For the Community Group FCSS funding report, it is recommended to remove the community group funding portion of the motion, as this was addressed by the Community Connection Department. The recommended change to the motion is to create a new FCSS funding policy that aligns with the FCSS Act. This report will be assigned to Director of Community Social Development Tammy Wenzel with a report date of Q2 2025. The remaining 3 outstanding items, the Peace Country Wolves Athletic Club, Legion Track and Field, the temporary sport flooring, and the recreation opportunities at Evergreen Park require an update of reporting to Q2 2025. Thank you.
Thank you for those updates. Any questions for our Deputy Chief? Councillor Berg?
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. And thanks, Ms. Ridgway, for coming in. I think you're the perfect person to ask this. Can you tell me more what the Bose pilot project is?
Absolutely, through the chair. This is the project where we have the tennis club using the Bose for tennis, and it's going very, very well. In Q2, we'll bring some of the revenue and expense reports to committee.
And then a follow-up, you're mentioning tennis. Is there any mention of pickleball in there at all?
Not at this time.
Okay, at this time, not yet. Not saying no, not yet. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that question there, Councillor Berg. That's exciting. Actually, I'm glad you asked that question because I didn't know that we had tennis going on in the Bose. I'm not a tennis player, but I get tennis elbow from time to time. Councillor Blackmore.
I did talk to some of the tennis players who are playing there, and they're really happy. They're not really happy with the floor itself, but they find it a little slippery, which leads to all kinds of visual amusements. I'm ready to do business if you're ready for that.
Unless I see Mayor Clayton has her hand up online. I'm not sure she has a question, but is it to do business, Mayor Clayton, or do you have a question? She has a question. Mayor Clayton.
Thanks, Chair Thiessen. Ms. Ridgway, maybe you are aware, and if not, the CAO would be aware in regards to the Transit Program for Seniors report. I'm looking for some additional information. So if it's going to be included in that report, great. If not, an email from Chief Lemieux might suffice. I'm just looking for an update on how our disabled transportation program is going. And then if we have any high-level information in regards to that, it could be reported at the same time as item 1356, or an email from Chief Lemieux would suffice. Thank you. And when I mean how it's going, I'm wondering some ridership, if we have any feedback from the riders. I'm hearing a bit from a few riders and through emails, and I'm just looking to clarify that. Thanks.
No, thanks for that. Maybe Chief Glavin might have something to add to that. I don't know. I saw him whispering. Sorry to put you on the spot there. Oh, I'm getting directed over to CAO Burke.
Thank you, Chair Thiessen. We'll take that request away and bring it back in either the email or to align with the next report, whichever is most appropriate.
Awesome. Thanks for that. Now I'll turn it back to Councillor Blackmore.
And I would move that committee receive the March 18th outstanding items list as amended for information.
That motion is in order. We'll call that to question. Just waiting on Mayor Clayton, but I think she's in favor. Yep, I called it. I'm psychic. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That concludes our meeting for this moment. So I will adjourn the meeting, and we'll be right back here with, I believe, operational services.